This is big. The Xiaomi Mi 9 has just been announced today in China, and it is loaded with exciting features, plus a price tag that will probably make other 2019 flagships quiver. Oh yeah, and the phone is also being released alongside what I think is a record-breaking 20-watt wireless charger, which charges this phone faster than many smartphones charge when they're physically plugged in. Let's get into it. Xiaomi's Mi 9 is built like something out of a sci-fi microSD card slot and a super glossy back. The front is fitted with the latest Gorilla Glass 6, and the entire back glass is curved, unlike past variants where it slide out just as easily. If we compare to Huawei's Mate 20 Pro, the curves are gentler here because the sides are completely flush with the back. And what I was impressed by is that Xiaomi have managed to do this whilst creating a phone that doesn't really wobble on a table. And to top it off, there's a Google Assistant button, which you can configure to a certain extent. To be honest, color-wise, I'd say black is the least exciting version. There's a blue and a purple variant which have this holographic layer to disperse the light, and an ultimate transparent edition, which we're going to come back to. Experience I've ever tried. Animations fly, and it's filled with subtle visual flourishes like the blurring of the background when you pull down your notification bar, the animation of icons when you exit applications, not to mention being able to hold down after unlocking to quickly access other shortcuts. I imagine that by the time this year is up, the teardrop notch on the front of this phone is going to look a little dated, but at least the phone has a 6.39-inch AMOLED display, which is good, but colors do get a little funny at extreme angles. Plus points for a second-generation in-display fingerprint scanner into the triple camera market, and for the most part, it seems like it was worth the wait. At the top, there's a 12-megapixel telephoto lens, which lets you zoom in 2 times. Below that, the primary 48-megapixel sensor, and at the bottom, a 16-megapixel super wide-angle camera. And weirdly enough, the flash module is actually behind the glass on the back of the phone. The company has added this halo around the top camera. Doesn't really do anything, but what is cool is that the camera portion is coated with sapphire glass, which stops it scratching when it's inevitably scraped along a table because, let's face it, it does kind of stick out. Standard photos come out at 12 megapixel, which is the mode I'd recommend you keep it in. HDR looks good and colors are balanced, but in good lighting, you can take full 48 megapixel shots. They're a little noisy if you zoom all the way in, probably a sensor limitation, but nonetheless, more detailed than the standard 12 megapixel shots. There's a night mode too, leaps and bounds ahead of just taking a normal photo in the dark. It doesn't take much motion to cause the picture to blur though, and the detail isn't quite what we've seen on the Pixel 3, but the colors are really nice and contrast on point. So you might know that I've really grown to love the ultra-wide lens on the Mate 20 Pro, and so it's kind of a relief that I can carry that on over here. The quality isn't as good as shots taken on the main lens, but close enough that changing lens doesn't feel disjointed. And the flip side of having an ultra-wide is that you can also get much closer to subjects. It actually doubles as a macro camera. Pretty cool. So overall, it's just an all-round really solid setup. There isn't any optical image stabilization, but the electronic is okay, and it can shoot, but that's an argument for another day, because this design is epic. It feels like a real second-generation product, like a slicker, more powerful version of last year's transparent Mi 8 Pro. I mentioned that the phone also supports super fast wireless charging, and well, we've seen similar improvements to the wired department. The Mi 9 comes with a 27-watt charger, which can fully charge the phone in a fraction over an hour, faster than Oneplus Dash charging, but not quite as fast as their new Warp Charge 30. The phone kind of needs this charging speed advantage because its 3,300 mAh capacity is definitely on the lower end. But bear in mind the latest Android 9, an efficient 7nm chip, and a 1080p. The exact price is going to be announced roughly when this video drops, so I'll leave that as a comment below.